If you've been doing lots of deep healing work and trying to change your patterns, then this video is for you. So, let's go to pre-healing days. You are operating off of a certain programming, and because of that, generally speaking, most of the people you hung out with were operating at that same programming. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Birds of a feather flock together. There's reasons why those sayings exist. It's because it's true. Energetically, you will always gravitate towards people who are very similar to you. Um, and people think that when we hang out with people that are the same, it has to do with like all these surface things, but it's not true. It's the base programming that I'm talking about. We hang out with people that have very similar core programming as us. And so often, like even our families, especially if you had very enmeshed families, you will have the same base programming, and you will mostly have different roles that you played in that family of origin. And so you had different personalities and things like that. But your base programming is usually all the same. So why am I saying all this? So as you do healing work and you start to address your trauma and you are going into your shadow and basically like holding space, doing inner child work, reparenting, and all these things, what ends up happening is that you are changing your programming and your frequency and all that stuff. And when we do that, what's happening is we're creating new neural pathways in our brain. That's what happens when we are essentially creating new programming, putting in new belief systems and things like that. And so what happens is now we're operating at a different programming, different vibe, whatever you want to say. And so your vibe is no longer the same as your tribe. So why is that an issue? So now that you're no longer like parallel with one another, or have that, like you're no longer congruent or whatever, you are now having this conflicting and contrasting like energy between you two. So not to mention that usually those people have this idea of you already created in their mind about you. So it's really hard for them to accept you as this new person because A, they already have that idea of you created probably for like their whole life or many years, and B, two, whatever, they're not at that frequency. They don't understand it because they're still on that old programming and they cannot see eye to eye with what you're saying. They don't understand why you're acting the way you're acting, why are you doing what you're doing. They might even take you as being like a threat or aggressive or something. And it's just like because you're different, and it's like challenging the vibe and the energetic connection that was already existing there. So the reason I'm talking about this is as we do healing work, everyone knows that you're going to like lose friends and connections as you're doing healing work, but let's talk about the connections that are from people that we really care about and that we really love. What happens to those connections? You obviously aren't going to lose those connections, although in some cases and instances, there might be a situation where you do lose those connections if you find that some of those people don't can't accept that you're different and the conflict becomes too much, that it's too hard to remain like friends with those people or keep those connections going. So there may be moments where you will have to walk away from those, or at the very least very limit them and place like massive boundaries there. But the reason I'm talking about this specifically is because going through healing work is already super hard on its own. It is so freaking hard. Like, it is the most difficult thing that you'll go through in your life. It's scary, it's confusing, but it's also very lonely because you are going on a path that has never been walked before. You're going on a path that you've never been on before and that no one else really has been on, because even though someone could guide you along your path, like I myself, like I'm a healer and I help people with their healing journey, and I could give people the tools and guidance as much as I want, but healing is an inside job that we all have to do on our own. And so it's scary, it's scrappy, it's uncomfortable, there's a lot of grief along that path. And so now there's conflict with the people that you love. with the people that were the most important to you, and now there feels like there's this conflict, and that there's no this parallel that you had no longer exists, or at least it feels like that. And not only that, but they don't see you who you are as who you are now. They don't see the new you. They don't see the way that you changed and have grown and things like that. And maybe they don't appreciate it in the fullness. And so that can be really difficult. You can feel like you're not being seen, or that anyone's holding space for you, because they're still treating you as the same as the person that they knew before, and the version of you that they created in your head. So why I'm saying this is that, yes, go ahead, maintain those connections. If you love people, like, try to maintain them as best as you can. But please, it is not your job to convince other people to see you. It is not your job to do that. It's not your job to tell people to say, hey, that's not who I am anymore. And I know it can get really easy to slip into old patterns when you are with those people, because the reality is, we, like, as with I can't speak, osmosis, when you hang out with people, you're always going to be affected by their energy. And so if you're hanging out with people that were part of, like, your old programming, then it's very easy for you to slip into that old programming. And then you might even be more upset about it and have this internal conflict, because now you are having your own internal conflict, because you're like, this isn't who I am anymore. And I hate that I have to feel like I'm in this energy, because this isn't who I am anymore. And so the reason I'm saying this is, make sure you find the people who either are at that frequency, who can see you, who can honor that, and get that time to, like, really stabilize yourself, and to sit with that energy, and to allow yourself to clear your energy, ground, bring up your vibration again. Everything you need to do that to make yourself feel better and be in a better place, do it. Do all of those things, because you are going to experience so many other crappy things during your healing journey. I'm not saying that to make it sound like it's a horrible thing, because I promise you it's not. It's like, there's so much goodness there too. Like, there is so much growth and expansion that really, the deeper you get connected to yourself, the deeper that unconditional love is, which is like, love is the highest frequency, the highest vibration. And there is nothing that feels as wonderful and beautiful and blissful as that unconditional love that you move towards when you do deep healing work. The clarity and the knowing and expansion and all that stuff that you achieve when you do healing work, there is nothing, honestly, that is equivalent to that. And so it's good, but there's a lot of crappy. And we don't need these added things and extra things to make us feel shitty. So I just wanted to put that out there, and just take care of your energy, protect your peace, find the people who do see you as who you are. You don't have to convince anyone to see you as who you are. If they don't see you as who you are, then they're not your people. And I hope you do find your people, because you deserve to be seen for who you are, and you deserve to be honored, and you deserve people to hold space for you, no matter where you are in your life. Okay? Anyways, hope this was helpful to you or to someone. Take care.